Hello there, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor. Hope you've been enjoying painting, and I am so glad to see you again. I'm so excited to do these videos and have these tips and tricks for you. We've started to talk about watercolor paints, and I'll continue that next week, but I thought I'd toss in a tips and tricks video because I was painting today and thinking about how I paint and what helps me to keep from overworking my art. And this is something that a lot of people are afraid of with watercolor. So I'm going to tell you what I do, a couple things I do that help me so much to keep the work fresh and luminous, exciting, colorful, and two of those things I will talk about today. Okay, the first one is about when I paint my watercolors. I don't just paint one painting at a time, okay? I actually do several. For a beginning painter, you might want to do two different paintings at a time. They could be totally different, like a fish and a flowers, or they could be two fish or two flowers. You know, if you want two that are similar, it might be easier when you're starting out. As I've advanced into watercolor over the years, what I do is I actually use or paint several paintings at a time, okay? Sounds a little, out there. However, what happens is you will not overwork, because you will take your paints, your paint brushes, and you will be painting a painting, and you may be, say, for instance, painting these flowers, okay? And I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but I bet you have. So you've done your flower, and then you're coming in around with the atmosphere, or vice versa. Maybe you do your atmosphere first and then your flowers. And one paint will run into the other. So you've now got the sky flowing into your flower. Oh dear. So what I advise, or what I recommend, is, you paint, say, whichever you're doing first, and then put it over to the side and let it set up and dry. Pull out another painting. I've got butterflies and florals and fish and all kinds here, because that's how I love to do it. It's exciting, it's fun. Okay, now that floral is setting up to dry, so that when I go back in and I wet the area around the flower and I want, to paint that, it's not going to run into the flower, okay? And I'll be working on a different painting, okay? And, I'll work parts of this painting now. And then let that set up and dry. And put that somewhere else, up here or over here. Let it set up and dry. That's the thing about having a nice big table that's helpful, because you can spread things out. And then, okay, I actually do 2 or 3 or 4. Sometimes I have been known to do even more at a time. Okay. That's my first tip, and it's a really helpful one. Some of the paintings I'm working on now, I pulled out from under the table. We did a video about, if you don't know what to do, put them away for a while, or if they're overworked, put them away for a while. You may be able to fix them later or start them over, right? That was another video. So check those videos out. They'll talk in more specifics about some of those issues that we have with watercolor. Okay. And then the other thing, I wanted to toss this into the video because I've talked a little bit about watercolor ground in the past. Where's my butterfly? My butterfly, I didn't like the bottom of the painting. There she is. And I did like my sky, and I did like the butterfly. I think this is still wet. See, this is why I say you want to set these aside. I took this watercolor ground by Winsor & Newton. This one's white, titanium white. It comes in black, it comes in some other colors, and it's not watercolor. It goes in and it covers your paper back up to either the white that you had before, or a color, say black, if you want to black things out. I tend to only use the white, because that way when that dries I can go back in and start over. On this one I put the ground in, and I'm going to need another coat because it's still not completely whited out, but once it is, I will be able to go back in and put in the bottom of the painting that I want. And it's like it was never there. So that's another tip, and I've incorporated that into what I'm doing today, where I set that aside to dry and went into another painting. Now this one here, I've got a landscape, but I've got what my instructor used to call the hot dog roll in the middle of that landscape, right? Because right here, this looks too much the same all the way across that. So I'm going to bring in some ground and break it up, make it a little more interesting of a background, because I've got a pretty interesting foreground, but the background's just kind of all the same. And I don't think that when you're looking back at the back of this painting, you're very interested or excited about it, or, you know, saying, oh, that's beautiful and I want that. So then I will, after I do that one, I will put that aside and let it dry and go back into another one that I'm trying to finish. Okay, so that's my simple tricks and tips for today. And I'm really excited to share these things with you. As I come across them, I just grab my camera and we get them on camera so you can enjoy and think about these things and consider trying them, because it'll add some more satisfaction and success. And you may find that watercolor isn't so impossible or so difficult. It's actually very possible, and you can do some beautiful things. So you keep on trying and keep on going, and, you know, enjoy this beautiful thing that the good Creator has made for us, as far as using the pigments of the earth, the water from the earth, all these lovely things, and we can do all these wonderful things with them to be a part of the wonder of our lives. Okay, so I'm really thank you for coming and joining me again, and I hope this is helpful. And you give me some comments on how you're doing in your painting too. I'd love to hear, or whatever art you're using or doing, and love to hear the things you're doing and trying. So if you like this video and would like to see more, keep coming back. Click on the like and please subscribe, because I love having people painting along with me, and it keeps me going too. So I'm so glad you're here, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned for talking about granulation and staining colors, two new tips and tricks and how-tos coming up. See you soon. Have a blessed and most wonderful week now. Bye for now.